An off-duty police officer makes a horrifying discovery.
Okay, is there any serious bleeding?
Yes, she's in the face. She's shot in the face.
He's screaming, uncontrollable.
They go inside. They see blood on the inside of the door. There's blood on the knob, and there's even blood on the wall.
It's an unthinkable tragedy, made all the worse by the young couple's undying love for each other.
From the very first time Dion laid eyes on her, he was pretty much in love with her.
It would always be, I love you, I love you, I love you.
But the mystery of what happened on this catastrophic day will be no small task to unravel, ultimately leaving many to wonder, was it a terrible accident, suicide, or murder?
It was a dangerous situation and nobody even knew about it. There was obsession, lies being told, and lovers on the side.
She was like, I'll get you your money later, and he refused to take that as an answer.
She was in so deep, she didn't know how to get out of it. She was dealing with something that she didn't know how to get away from.
Tuesday, March 16th, 2010. It's a sunny afternoon in East Nashville, Tennessee, a vibrant up-and-coming community in Music City, USA.
It's become just an attractive place for a lot of people. Nashville's a good place to live. Generally, it's a safe city.
But at 4:46 p.m., an emergency call reaches Area 911 dispatchers.
911 is the address of your emergency.
Sorry.
On the line is 23-year-old Dion Cartmel, and he's no ordinary resident.
I'll do the officer. Dion Cartmel. Please come quick.
Okay, sir. It's the health department duplex.
House. Please send medics.
Okay, stay along with me, okay?
He's screaming. It seems like he is inconsolable.
Please fucking hurry.
Okay, stay along with me.
Moments later, dispatchers ascertain the cause of Officer Cartmel's dire emergency.
She's in the face. She's shot in the face. Please, Daddy, please. Come on, baby.
Okay,
Yes, she's not really. Please fucking hurry.
I need someone there. They're on their way, sir.
With help now on the way, Dion does what he can to keep his 24-year-old wife, Shari, alive.
I'm not to figure out.
Okay, I'm going to put him on until help arrives.
Within minutes, first responders arrive at the Cartmel home.
The scene is grisly. They can see Shari lying back on the couch, unresponsive. As they get closer, they see that she's lying in a pool of blood.
She had a gunshot wound to the face.
She's not breathing. There is only a very faint heartbeat.
We gotta get her out of here.
Let's go back out front.
When the ambulance get there, they transport her to the hospital.
Shari's condition is dire, but did she truly attempt to take her own life? The answer to that question will not only haunt her doting husband, but her friends, family, and the entire East Nashville community.
I couldn't believe it. It was shocking.
What has happened to her is just almost unreal to me. It still lingers in my mind. Why?
Shari Bethel was born on July 30th, 1985 to a loving family that pampered their precious youngest girl.
Couldn't wait to take that baby home and show her off. I got on a Greyhound bus and rode from Fort Worth, Texas to Paducah, Kentucky to show this baby. She was just special. She just had this little sweetness about her. She had this real high-pitched voice. And she was always smiling and happy.
In the fall of 1999, Shari's family moved to Nashville, Tennessee. There, Shari blossomed.
Shari was the popular girl. Everybody knew her. She was just this big joy to be around. Everybody loved Shari. She was hilarious. She was funny. She was outgoing. She was one of a kind.
She was just that spark. You know, she had that sparkle about her.
In high school, Shari was a full-blown knockout, turning heads everywhere she went.
All the guys wanted her because she was absolutely stunning.
I mean, she's a beautiful girl. She was a beautiful girl. She had a bubbly personality.
She was real petite body-wise, and she had these nice legs, but then she had this chest. So, of course, she was going to get guys' attention first.
But there was one unassuming young man at Hunters Lane High School who was especially smitten with Shari.
From the very first time Dion laid eyes on her, he was pretty much in love with her.
He was initially attracted to her, and then as time went on, he began to fall in love with the other parts of her. She was a good person. She was a serious thinker, and he liked that part of her.
To Shari, though, Dion was just another hopeless admirer.
She called him Freckle Face. That's how she referred to him. He still had that little boy face, a little boy figure. He'd flirt with her. He'd try to hang out places that she went, just try to make himself be known. And she just was not interested in it.
After high school, the two former classmates went their separate ways.
Dion goes off to the military in the Marine Corps, and Shari goes to college. So they lose contact with each other.
Dion was serving overseas in Iraq while Shari was attending Bethel University back in Nashville.
For Dion and Shari, it seemed their futures were headed in different directions. Until one fateful day in 2006.
Hi, can I help you?
It's me, Dion.
Shari was working at the jewelry store, and he had come in on Christmas break from the Marines. He's like, hey, Shari, reintroducing himself, and she was really in shock at how he changed.
Dion Cartmel?
Yes, what's going on, girl?
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Dion blossomed when he went off to the Marines. He came back completely changed physically. He had buffed up.
He's pumped up. He's no longer that skinny guy. He is handsome at this point. He's filled out.
Wow. So, do you live in Nashville now?
No, I'm actually in North Carolina. I'm stationed at the Marine base there.
I can't get over how much you've changed.
She's really checking him out, and that's not something that she's done in the past. He realizes for the first time, I've got her attention, and I'm going to keep it. So they exchange numbers. They start a long-distance relationship.
Oh, God, he wooed Shari like every girl wants to be wooed. Even if they don't say it, they want it. He actually went so far as to just giving her cash. He'd send her money just to go shopping, just random things like that.
He's lavishing her with flowers. He's taking her to expensive restaurants. He's buying her gifts. He knows that Shari likes fine things in life. So he does everything he can to impress her.
I think Dion was the ultimate boyfriend. I do think he pampered her. I think he spent money on her, and I think she liked that. I really do think that she enjoyed the attention, and her family knew that Shari was very happy. So Shari was happy. That made the family happy.
As a Marine, Dion had a passionate interest in guns, a passion he enjoyed sharing with Shari every chance he got.
He felt like he wanted to teach her how to shoot.
Shari developed an interest in knowing more about how to shoot the weapon, so he was always teaching her how to shoot and how to aim.
Would occasionally take her to the gun range where they would fire the weapons.
With Dion still stationed in North Carolina and Shari continuing to call Nashville home, the distance between the couple only strengthened their affection for one another.
She loved Dion. Dion walked on water in Shari's eyes. And it was almost annoying. They would always be, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. They would go back and forth, up and down the interstate. If he didn't come here, she'd go there.
It was like fire between them. Very passionate.
But maybe no gift made a bigger impression on Shari and her family than the one Dion gave her on Valentine's Day in 2007.
The doorbell rings, and there's this man with a crate looking for Shari Bethel. I said, what is going on? Shari, come here. Shari comes out of her bed.
And they see this huge box, and inside is a beautiful, beautiful puppy.
I remember getting the phone call from Shari screaming ecstatically. She was so happy. Oh my God, he bought me a puppy. He bought me a puppy. I wouldn't say 2 months after that is when he brought her a ring and they got engaged.
After suffering a serious knee injury in 2008, Dion was honorably discharged from the Marines. He immediately joined Shari in Nashville, where the two married and began a picture-perfect life together.
Shari landed a good job at an area hospital as a registrar, so she talked to a lot of incoming patients, helped them with their paperwork, and made appointments.
She was very successful, and she was very friendly with all the people there.
Dion was just as successful. He enrolled in the police academy, graduated, and was assigned to the Nashville Police Department.
He was ecstatic. He was very excited. And we were all very proud of him. My grandmother went to his graduation ceremony. We all were very happy for Dion.
They were, talking about maybe children, having kids. They purchased a house, what every young couple strives to do.
They had the fairy tale relationship.
But this fairy tale would not have a happy ending. As Shari is rushed to the hospital with a seemingly self-inflicted gunshot wound to the face, investigators begin surveying the scene at the Cartmel home. What they uncover will pull back the veil on Shari's picture-perfect life and reveal that this beautiful bombshell had something to hide.
I just started screaming, what?
I was shocked. I would never want to know that my sister's heart was broken that bad.
After nearly 3 years of marriage, It seemed nothing could stop Nashville residents Dion and Shari Cartmel.
Dion was a well-respected Nashville police officer and a former Marine. Shari was a popular employee at a local hospital.
They're headed in the right direction, no question about it. Everything was going well for them.
Then, on the afternoon of March 16th, 2010, everything changes in the blink of an eye.
Dion contacts 911. My wife has shot herself. He's screaming, uncontrollable.
During the 911 call, he was panicking.
When Nashville police and EMS arrive on the premises, they find Dion in the throes of despair as his gravely wounded wife is raced to the hospital.
He was crying. He was falling down on the ground.
He's going crazy. He's hitting himself. He's screaming. They try to get him to calm down enough for them to understand what's going on.
Other police officers who he had worked with were with him, were trying to console him.
He was just too distraught to do an interview.
Hey, man, I'm Chaplain Evans.
There was a police chaplain on hand to comfort Dion, and Dion told him what happened.
Dion explains to the police chaplain that he and Shari had planned a quiet evening at home that night.
We're sitting in the living room. We're cleaning our guns.
They both was off from work that day, so they had planned the evening to spend together. He said it was our day to be together. They had started cooking dinner and watching the movie Training Day.
Dion was cleaning his guns and playing with his guns, and Shari was looking at the guns.
Can you show me how to take apart your AR-15?
For real? That's a big gun.
Yeah.
All right.
He says, okay, I'm going to show you how to take apart this AR-15. He went to the bedroom closet when he heard a gunshot. Come back out of the closet and saw that she was on the sofa and shot herself.
Shortly after listening to Dion's account, the chaplain is approached by Detective Robinson.
I spoke with the chaplain and I asked him, what did he tell you?
He wasn't in the room. He said, he heard the shot. So he's obviously really, really distraught right now.
Police are trying to figure out what really happened.
As the chaplain relays Officer Cartmel's story to Detective Robinson, the whole incident sounds like a tragic accident. Still, Detectives Postiglione and Robinson intend to play this one by the book.
I'm going to do the same type of investigation as I would in any kind of death investigation. You do it the same way, regardless of whether or not he's a police officer or not. You're going to do the same thing.
The fact that he was a police officer really meant nothing to us. We just had to evaluate the crime scene, determine exactly what happened, and just go from there.
But as they begin processing the scene, the detectives receive the one call everyone's been dreading.
I had communicated with a detective that I had sent to the hospital, and he called me back and told me that Shari was pronounced deceased.
News of Shari's sudden death hits her family like a ton of bricks.
I was upstairs in my townhouse talking on the telephone. I was the church secretary at that time to my pastor. And I hear a knock on the door. And I look out my window. There's police knocking on the door. I go downstairs and I let him in.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Charlotte. How are you?
And he said, sit down. I said, no, I'm not going to sit down. I said, what's wrong? He said, Shari's deceased. I was torn to pieces.
The phone rang. Well, it was my sister. She was screaming at the top of her lungs. And then she tells me, and I just say, what? I jump up out of bed and I just start screaming, what? What? Oh my God.
While Shari's family struggles to come to grips with her death, the detectives' preliminary search of the Cartmel home seems to support Dion's story.
They notice that there is a gun right there on the ottoman. There's blood on the gun.
We make our way to the kitchen and the oven's on. When you open the oven, there was some chicken breasts in the oven that looked like someone had stuck in there and they hadn't finished cooking.
When police search the rest of the house, though, they make a curious discovery.
In his third bedroom, he had made it into like a makeshift gun range where he had brought in some tires and some phone books. He was actually using the bedroom to fire guns. And
for the average citizen, a situation like the one in the Cartmel home might be cause for alarm. But for a revered cop and gun enthusiast like Dion, it isn't so strange.
But nothing that I know that was really creepy about him. A lot of officers that worked with him said, hey, he was a normal guy, was real likable.
This is a household where guns are normal.
I think if you go around and talk to a lot of officers, you'll find that they buy and purchase a lot of weapons.
While officers continue to probe every corner of the house, Detectives Postiglione and Robinson examine Dion.
He had blood all on there was blood on his face, blood on his hands. I saw blood on his pants, and he had a white T-shirt on what appeared to me to be blood spattered on his shirt.
He said that he offered CPR to her. So it's plausible that the blood could have been transferred that way.
The blood transfer could have come with his interaction. Anytime you touch somebody who's got blood on them, obviously you may get some blood on you.
Yeah, I know it's hard, but we gotta do a GSR test. Just proceed.
Just get it over with, man.
GSR test, basically, if a person fires a gun, there are these invisible gases that gets on your hands. So that's what the testing is for, is to see all those traces of gases on your hands so we can say he did fire a weapon or he didn't fire a weapon.
He's a cop. He knows the procedure. He knows they're going to ask him tough questions. He is cooperating with them. It seems like he's really trying to tell them what happened, and they're trying to figure out what happened too. He gives them his clothes. He knows that they have to go through his cell phone. He gives that up. He lets them test his hands for gun residue. So it seems like he's cooperating as much as he can.
We had no reason to think anything else happened other than a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
As police continue processing the scene, Shari Cartmell's accidental shooting death is the lead story on the news that night. But as momentum for this case builds, information will soon come to light that suggests there's much more to this story than meets the eye.
You could look in Shari's eyes. The brightness was gone. That flame was gone.
On March 16, 2010, 24-year-old Shari Cartmell succumbed to a gunshot wound in an apparent accidental shooting in her own home. The following day, Nashville police sit down with Shari's grieving husband and fellow Metro officer Dion Cartmell for an official statement.
I'm feeling sympathetic towards him and also the tragic loss of life, all of that. But at the same time, I'm eager to hear what he has to say.
Dion begins by describing the events he discussed with the police chaplain the previous evening.
We call it our Tuesday, so we just hang out together and do whatever at the house or go wherever.
It was just as he said the day before. They were watching a movie together, preparing dinner, and Dion was showing Shari how to take apart and clean his Glock.
I'm showing her, like I said before, going through, this is how you take it apart, this is how this works, and we're watching the movie Training Day.
She goes into the kitchen and check on the food.
I'm gonna go put the chicken in the oven.
Right, perfect. And that's when he reloaded the weapon. He sets it on the ottoman. She comes back in, sit on the sofa next to his left.
All right, so what's next?
I was reaching for the AR. I was like, I'm gonna show you how this one works.
As Dion grabs his AR-15, he hears the Glock go off with a shattering bang.
I reach for that. When I grab it, I hear a bang. I can feel the force like on my face. I jump and I freak out. I looked over there. That's when I seen she was laid over. And I was like, babe. It didn't feel real. It didn't feel real. I was like, baby, can you talk to me? So I was waiting on her to talk back, but she wasn't saying anything.
Now, the way Dion describes it, it makes sense. But it is a little different than the way he described it to the chaplain the night before.
First time he told them that he heard the shot from the bedroom. But then his story changes to they were both in the living room watching a movie.
While investigators take note of the discrepancy, they realize that people who've witnessed horrific tragedies often misremember key details.
We took the fact that his wife had just been shot into consideration. Yeah, we understood that.
As the interview proceeds, Dion informs them that this unintentional discharge of a weapon wasn't Shari's first.
He told them about a prior incident that took place with Shari. That once, when he was not in the home, she fired the gun and put a hole in the wall.
Apparently, she had the magazine out, was still in the chamber, was messing around, trying to figure out if the slide's not completely forward, then the round got fired. Almost like the one fire. It went through the mattress, out the headboard, through the wall.
The evidence for that discharge is easily verifiable. It's lodged in the wall of the Cartmell home. But detectives question the likelihood of a similar situation in this case.
His reasoning was she picked it up maybe thinking it was unloaded and fired the weapon and accidentally shot herself.
He said, well, she probably didn't realize that I had just loaded the gun back up. But either way, you don't point a gun to your face and pull the trigger. That seems like a very strange thing to do.
With the notion of accidental death being called into question, police are now entertaining the possibility that Shari took her own life on purpose.
There is the possibility this is a suicide. They need to look deeper into her personal life to see if she could have been depressed.
Police are asking him about his marriage. They want to know, did you have any problems in the marriage? Was there anything going on?
We, we're doing good. I mean, it was all happy. It was kisses in the morning, hugs at night. It was perfect.
But when investigators speak to Shari's family, they learn that the picture Dion paints of a perfectly happy couple may not be entirely accurate.
What can you tell us about Shari?
She was very agitated and she was not happy. You could look in Shari's eyes. The brightness was gone. That flame was gone.
The last time I saw her, she wasn't the happy, bubbly, and I noticed she'd put on a little weight. And she hadn't had her hair done, and it was like, what's going on? It was like the light in her eye had been turned off. So, of course, that alarms you and alerts you to something's going on.
Shari's loved ones believe they may know why she was so down in the dumps.
I had heard that Dion had cheated on Shari, but Shari always denied it.
She said that he hadn't been intimate with her in a while. And so in my mind, it tells me that the relationship is not where it's supposed to be because they're still young people.
I remember one night in particular, and this is at like 11 o'clock at night. I'm on the phone with Shari, and I'm like, oh, it's quiet over there. Where's Dion? And she's like, I don't know. He said he's going to the gym.
He's home. I'll call you
I
back.
said, 11 o'clock at night?
Where were you tonight?
It's at the gym. I told you I was working out.
Oh,
I have to get in the shower. I'll be in bed in a minute.
okay.
Shari had discovered that her husband was sexting numerous women, up to 10 or 12 women.
She assumed he was cheating. She never came out and told me she knew for a fact he was, but she knew. She just didn't want to admit it. Love is blind.
It is possible that Shari was so torn up by her husband's cheating ways that she decided to end it all right in front of him.
What are you doing? Put the gun down.
You think I don't know about those other women?
There's no other women.
Yes, there are.
No, let's talk
Why
about
are you
this.
lying to me?
I'm not. I love you. Go.
Shari's friends and family, though, find that scenario unthinkable.
She has not committed no suicide. Oh, no. I hate to say it. Shari would not have stuck no gun near her face. She's not depressed like that. She has not shot herself in the face like, boom. No.
She was not suicidal. She made too many plans. She had too much going on.
While detectives still aren't certain what happened, Dion's alleged affairs do raise some eyebrows.
Dion is supposed to be a respectable man. I mean, this is how he carries himself. The respectable family man. And to find out from the family that he's been sexting other women, up to 12 women, it's sort of alarming to them.
But what's most alarming is what investigators learn next. Because sometimes when you start turning over rocks, you have no idea what you'll find underneath.
Still to this day, it makes my chest hurt to even think about it.
Less than 2 days after the shooting death of 24-year-old Shari Cartmel, Nashville investigators have turned up some unexpected dirt on Shari's husband and fellow Metro officer Dion Cartmel.
Dion is supposedly cheating on her, so she was not happy, which was adding a lot of stress to the marriage.
I think they had the American dream relationship on the outside, but I think she knew about the women and certain things that he was doing wasn't setting well with her.
It's almost like a smoke and mirrors. On the outside, it looked great, but behind the scenes, it was all falling apart.
Dion painted a picture of domestic bliss in his initial interview that didn't gel with the facts. So now investigators had questions. Had Shari intentionally ended her own life, or had something else happened in their home?
When the medical examiner's report comes back, in addition to the results of Shari's GSR test, it only further muddies the water.
Suicide is most likely not the case because there is no gunshot residue on Shari's hands. That came back negative.
She had a wound, entered her cheek, and went up to the backside of her brain. It went straight of an angle shot, which could indicate she was turning her head this way when she was shot. It was difficult to replicate.
So is it even possible to shoot yourself like that?
It's difficult, but it's possible.
The medical examiner rules her death inconclusive. He needs more information to have an exact finding.
An inconclusive medical report means investigators must search beyond the possibility of a self-inflicted wound.
in order to say, okay, she turned the gun on herself and she somehow turned the angle and pulled the trigger, it was just so incredibly bizarre for her to do in the first place. Much more likely that it was somebody shooting her versus her doing it to herself.
But if that theory makes Dion their number one suspect, his gunshot residue test is equally confounding.
The GSR test done on his hands came back from the state lab, and the findings were inconclusive.
The inconclusive GSR test means Dion is presumed innocent until the evidence suggests otherwise. It also means it's time for investigators to start looking at other possible suspects.
They started looking into these girls that he was allegedly messing around with on the side.
From what I understand, Dion was cheating on Shari with several women. And one of the major ways that Dion was cheating on Shari was when he would pull women over. He would get their identification.
He was texting a lot of different girls. He would meet them on traffic stops. He would exchange numbers with them. He would text them back and forth.
You know why I pulled you over?
Why?
You looking really nice driving this car.
Thank you.
Is it possible one of these women fell hard for the handsome, hard-bodied Officer Cartmel and decided she'd do anything to have him all to herself?
This is not exactly a far-fetched idea. It happens all the time. Someone has many lovers, and the lovers are jealous of the wife's life with that man. They want that house. They want to be with that man, and they're willing to kill for it. So the question is, was one of these women eager to get rid of Shari?
You look at some of those scenarios, the possibility that something else may have occurred versus what he's telling us. If he didn't commit the murder, is it possible a third person may have come in and done this and he's somehow, for some reason, covering for that person?
But getting each of Dion's alleged mistresses to go on the record about their affair is no easy task, especially when at least one of these women is already married.
We had one girl that actually had some sort of an affair with him, but it was difficult to really nail down because there were some people who maybe if they were involved with him, they were not willing to acknowledge that when we were conducting the investigations.
Over the next few weeks, detectives questioned several of Dion's alleged lovers, including one of the women he met on the job, Denise Harris.
What can you tell us about your connection to Dion and Shari?
I really care about Dion, but I wouldn't hurt his wife. I was at work on March 16th. Call my supervisor.
They got nowhere with Denise or any of these other women.
Investigators may have hit a dead end with Dion's mistresses. But shining a light on every corner of the Cartmels' personal lives turns up yet another unsettling discovery.
We collected a lot of stuff out of the house, and a lot of it was bill. A lot of them was her bill that someone wouldn't even open.
They were in financial trouble, Dion and Shari was.
Shari liked the finer things, so she enjoyed going out and spending money.
It's a situation many young couples encounter. But in this case, could the stress of financial woes have caused a volatile side of Dion to emerge?
I would say it caused an issue after they bought their house. It caused a lot of arguments where she was spending her money, how she was spending her money, where it was going to.
I heard a conversation she had with him, and she's like, no, this is money that my mom gave me to go get my hair done. And I'm like, why do you have to lie to him about how you spend your money? It's what you work for every day, not just to pay bills. You gotta enjoy it too.
In fact, Shari's friend, Stephanie Lindblom, tells police about one such incident she witnessed 5 days before Shari's death.
What can you tell us about Shari at the workplace?
He had come into the ER about a week before in a rage.
Well, she hadn't paid her mortgage last month, and so when that happened, her husband stormed in a huge rage, and he started beating on tables and yelling at her and cursing.
I mean, he was hands slapping on the desk, cussing at her, saying, "You're going to get me this GD money. I'm tired of playing your effing games." You could just see how angry he was. And he refused to leave. She was like, "I'll get you your money later." And he refused to take that as an answer. He was like, "You're going to get it, and you're going to get it now."
How did she react to that?
She was embarrassed. She said, "Please leave. You're embarrassing me." And he still yelled at her and cursed at her.
It was an embarrassment for Shari being like, "That's my husband, and this is how he's acting." But I think she was more scared than she was embarrassed.
Her coworkers are stunned. One of the coworkers walks out, and she ends up getting an email from Shari a few minutes later saying, "Please don't leave me up here with this nut."
She thought he was going to physically assault her right there in front of everybody else. So those are some big issues, big red flags.
With this dark side of Dion emerging, Detectives decide it's time to take a closer look at their fellow officer.
We go by what the evidence tells us, and what he was telling us and what the evidence was telling us didn't jive. So that's where we had a problem.
For nearly 2 months, police in Nashville, Tennessee have been investigating the troubling shooting death of fellow officer Dion Cartmell's wife, Shari. And as interviews with Shari's friends and family continue, investigators begin to wonder if Dion's marital transgressions extended beyond adultery.
There was a lot of financial problems in the marriage. He just become so angry that he just didn't care. Some of her friends suspected some issues between the two of them, that perhaps he was being violent towards her.
He started to ridicule her weight. Started to say that she was gaining weight. He was calling her vulgar names, cursing at her. Even friends and family members heard him referring to her as the B word many times. People found his demeanor with her very, very disturbing.
He was possessive. I would say he was very jealous of Shari. She was a very beautiful young girl. And I think any time she may have been shown attention by somebody, he would perceive that as a threat to him. He would go there and actually confront these people and accuse them of different things. And that would humiliate Shari.
If he would call and she wouldn't answer her phone, he was thinking that she was out doing stuff that she wasn't supposed to be doing, maybe cheating on him and all of that. So there was some early indicators there that possibly that, hey, wait a minute here. Things ain't as like, you initially thought they were going to be.
Shari really wasn't doing the things he was accusing her of, but it's all about control with him. He didn't necessarily want Shari anymore, but he didn't want anyone else to have her, which is, the whole thing was kind of bizarre, but this is how he was living his life.
In my mind, Shari was displaying symptoms of somebody who was dealing with domestic violence. She was definitely shying away from the family, and that was abnormal. I mean, we lived next door to each other and went from seeing each other all the time to, oh, I can't come over right now. I just wanted my sister to be away from him.
I think it became intolerable for Shari at some point, and she began to hate her life. I think that really began to happen with her because of Dion's personality. And eventually, things begin to crack.
But as authorities delve deeper, they also learn something else. It seems Dion's story about Shari's first accidental shooting in their house was pure fiction.
I said, Shari, who shot a hole in the wall? She said, I didn't. I said, come here, Mom, I'm going to show you something else.
What? He got angry. Oh, let me show you this one, too.
We go in the bedroom. It's a hole in the mattress. So I look, I said, that's where your head would be. Who did that? She looks at me and just smiled. I said, Shari, did he do that at your head? She wouldn't answer me. But in my heart, I knew he did it.
Investigators re-examine evidence collected at the scene, knowing they're dealing with a potentially violent person who likes to play fast and loose with the facts.
It was just different things inside the crime scene that didn't quite add up. In particular, the blood, I think, what was the biggest. We noticed to the left of the front door what appeared to be high velocity or high impact stains, which seemed inconsistent with the story we were getting that she was shot over by the couch. Blood seemed to go from the front door in a semicircular pattern around to the couch where Shari was found.
How does blood get from the couch to the door?
You're right. Let's get an expert in here on that.
We made the determination, let's take crime scene photographs, let's do all that and take it to somebody who does this as an expert. It's a nationally recognized expert, and that's what I did. I took all the evidence myself and personally delivered it to Jerry Finley, who's a nationally recognized expert in blood spatter, crime scene, reconstruction, that type of thing. And he was able to evaluate all the evidence.
Jerry Finley agreed with what the investigators had already suspected. Shari was not shot on the couch.
The blood transfer, it's not medium impact, it's not low impact, it's high impact. So that would always indicate probably we're talking about a weapon, a gun, which caused a high mist, high velocity to hit the shirt, which would not happen through his interaction with her. Just trying to do CPR or something like that type of stain you wouldn't get.
When the bullet penetrates the body, it just like throwing a pebble into a body of water. It splashes out. And in order for him to get that, you have to be near the person that was shot.
It tells us that somehow, some way, he had to be facing the victim when the shot occurred because it's high impact, it would come straight back. It wasn't angled, it appeared to be straight on, high velocity, this way. So that could indicate that he was facing her when the shot happened.
Detectives believe the physical evidence now points to Dion as the shooter, but it's a review of Shari's timeline the day of the incident that seems to cement that theory.
The timeline didn't make sense to me because she had just left from work. And I want to say, even with traffic, it took me maybe 7 minutes to get from Skyline's parking lot to her doorstep.
He's given several stories about what they were doing in that short amount of time. Using video from the Skyline Medical Center, they're able to see exactly when she left, exactly when she pulled out of the parking lot.
The 911 call came in at approximately 4:46 p.m., but Shari didn't leave the hospital until 4:30 p.m.
It didn't make sense that she had time to get from Skyline parking lot, home, cook chicken, mess around with the gun, and then the 911 call come in. There just wasn't enough time.
We know how long it takes to get from the hospital to the house. And then a short time she was in the house, he's calling 911. So a lot of things he says occurred was physically impossible to have occurred.
In addition to the questionable timeline of Dion's version of events, there was another statement he made that Shari's friends simply knew couldn't be true.
The cooking is a joke in itself. That girl never cooked, ever. We ate out all the time. She never cooked.
So when he said Shari was cooking chicken, when we initially met with the police, we was like, I told him, are you serious? Check her fingernails. Shari ain't touch no raw meat because Shari don't care for raw meat. Shari couldn't stand the texture of it, and she was not touch it.
Nashville police present their case to the district attorney. And on May 28, 2010, a grand jury hands down an indictment for first-degree murder against Dion Cartmel. Shortly thereafter, police move in to arrest their fellow officer.
I had his cell phone number, and I was communicating with him back and forth about, we're going to come arrest you. We'd like you to give yourself up. We don't want to create a potential barricaded subject or a situation like that. And when he came out the front door, he was actually laughing. And he came out, and my guys went up, they handcuffed him, and they took him into custody.
As lawyers on both sides prepare for trial, folks in East Nashville can't help but wonder if the law will be applied more leniently to this young man who was sworn to enforce it.
My biggest concern was that Dion was going to get away with this because Dion was a police officer.
On August 16, 2011, once proud Nashville police officer Dion Cartmel is brought into a Davidson County criminal courtroom to stand trial for the murder of his 24-year-old wife, Shari.
He stared me down, and I stared right back at him because I'm thinking, buddy, you're going to pay. You have done the ultimate act against mankind, and now you're going to pay for it. Your lies have caught up with you.
State attorneys take the floor first and present to the jury a case of anger turned into murderous rage.
We believe Shari was getting ready to go back to the hospital to go to a retirement celebration that one of her coworkers was having, and he didn't like that.
There's no question Shari was not happy in this marriage, and though only Dion knows what happened next, Shari might well have said something to Dion that set him off.
Something traumatic happened. Either they started arguing over money, over the fact that she was going out with friends that night. Perhaps she was upset about something that she found him doing.
No, you're not going anywhere. We got bills to discuss. Sit your ass down.
I'm sick of your crap, Dion. Get out of my way.
It's Dion's possessiveness, his control, the fact that she wanted to do something and he wasn't necessarily happy with it. He was prone to emotional outbursts. I think that's what occurred.
You think I'm stupid? I know you're sleeping with a coworker. What? You're not going anywhere.
Why is it suspicious that I'm the one seeing something?
I see how they look at you and how you look at them. You always text on your phone. You think I'm stupid?
You know what? You're crazy, Dion.
I'll show you crazy.
I made a big mistake marrying your sorry ass.
This particular emotional outburst, he had a gun in his hand. We believe that's when he flipped out, and that's when he shot her.
Prosecutors tell jurors that afterwards, Dion tried to cover his tracks, but the forensic evidence was his undoing.
She was shot at the door. She was drugged from the door to the couch and laid across the couch like a rag doll.
Everything you hear him saying when he's going through the motions on the 911 call, setting up like he's doing CPR, I believe at that time what he was actually doing was setting up the scene, putting his chicken in the oven and all that stuff, and that he wasn't doing any of the CPR because he never even moved off the sofa. He just totally staged all of that, in my opinion.
But when Dion surprisingly agrees to take the stand in his own defense, he continues to deny he pulled the trigger that killed his wife.
I remember just leaning up to get it, and that's when I heard it. But I heard the bang, and I could feel the force on the side of me. This the worst day of my life. I'm not gonna try to sit here and relive it. I tried everything I could to push this out of my head completely.
Did you shoot your wife?
No.
He was still trying to say that she accidentally shot herself. He was still sitting over like, I didn't do it. I'm innocent, you know.
And when it's Dion's defense team's turn, they remind jurors that there are two sides to every case.
They brought in their own expert on, on the blood spatter to try to refute whatever the state blood spatter expert said.
The defense's forensic pathologist testified that the blood found on both sides of Sherry's hands did not support a defensive posture.
The defense also calls attention to the gunshot residue test done on Dion's hands, which turned out to be inconclusive. However, prosecutors have a plausible explanation.
A napkin had been recovered from inside the Cartmels' living room following the shooting, and an analysis conducted on that napkin 3 months after Dion's arrest had tested positive for gunshot residue.
He used that napkin, put it around the gun, hoping it would chill GSR from getting on his hand, and he fired and shot her.
On August 26, 2011, both sides rest, and the jury retires to deliberate Dion's fate, while Shari's family waits in agonizing anticipation.
It took a lot of time, and we were very agitated.
We felt like everything that was said and shown during the trial, to me, said it was first-degree murder.
After 6 hours, the jury returns with a verdict.
At the conclusion of the trial, he was found guilty of second-degree murder.
They just couldn't show that it was premeditated.
It's not quite the verdict prosecutors were hoping for.
It's questionable whether it's, premeditation. I think we had an argument for premeditation they need to consider, but I think clearly we're very satisfied with second-degree murder.
I thought that we proved that he committed first-degree murder, in my opinion, by the mere fact that, like I said, he used that napkin. But the jury disagreed.
For Shari's loved ones, the verdict is bittersweet.
When the jury came back with the guilty verdict for Dion, we were very happy, but we wasn't too happy with the second degree.
It was very calculated. You told so many stories that tells me that it was calculated, that it's premeditated. But I can't do anything but respect the jury's decision and move on forward. And I hate that he's even ever going to be walking on this earth again to possibly do this to another woman.
He only got 18 years, which is a joke. Because we're all serving a life sentence without her.
In the years since Dion's verdict, Shari's family has replayed this tragedy in their minds countless times. And while they'll never forgive Dion for his actions, they still wonder how Shari could have fallen for someone with such a dark side.
You can woo somebody and not love them. And I think that's what happened in this situation. When you don't trust your gut, you end up paying for it in the worst way.
He was trying to control her, and I think that's the bottom line.
He probably thought, if I can have her, nobody can have her.
I don't think he ever loved her. I think he was infatuated, and it was a conquest for him to get her. He couldn't love her to do that. Love don't work like that.
When a gunshot rings out on a dark spring night, it sets in motion a chain of events that cannot be undone.
Honestly, at first, hearing the news of what actually happened, I felt like it was a lie. It just came out of the blue. It was just a shock.
An unfathomable crime that will test a family, investigators, and the bonds of love.
Every time she mentioned his name, she would smile.
There was no doubt in my mind. Their relationship was going good and that she was happy.
In my 15-year career, most difficult crime I responded to.
But as police push for answers, they'll walk into a world they could never imagine, laced with jealousy, shifting allegiances, and stone-cold liars.
It opens your eyes to just how brutal people can be.
April 29th, 2013. It's just after midnight in Hartford, Connecticut, when police receive a 911 call from a section of town they know all too well.
Yes, I'd like to go to the shooting.
Where?
It's on the corner of Magnolia and Martha.
It's called the Clay Arsenal. It's the northeast section of the city of Hartford, Connecticut. It's a very tough neighborhood to live in.
The caller, who identifies himself as 21-year-old CJ Bryan, is desperate for help.
Can you come quick, please, Somali.
He stated his girlfriend had been shot and to send help right away. very dramatic.
We're gonna be there, okay? But you gotta give me.
Shamari, you good? You can breathe? Shamari.
Hello?
Shamari, can you come quick, please, 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 please,
You're on the way.
please.
When first responders arrive at the scene, they find CJ's girlfriend, 20-year-old Shamari Jenkins, slumped behind the wheel of her vehicle.
Shamari's car had crashed on the west side of Magnolia Street. She was still in the driver's seat, unconscious. She had been shot one time through the shoulder and had entered her upper torso.
Oh, God, please tell me she's gonna be all right.
We're gonna do everything we can.
As EMTs tend to Shamari, CJ tells responding officers what he knows, which isn't much.
I don't know. Everything happened so fast. I didn't even realize what was going on.
They were driving down the street and all of a sudden it was just gunshots and one bullet came through Shamari's back window. She lost control of the car and it just hit the stairway.
With CJ by her side, Shamari is rushed to the hospital, barely clinging to life.
She was immediately rushed into surgery when she got to the hospital.
In a neighborhood known for gang violence and drug wars, detectives are all too familiar with such tragedies.
Hey, what happened there? 20-year-old African-American female shot through the back window and had a crash right here.
You could be just sitting at a light and a bullet come through the car and hit you for no reason at all.
Had Shamari been an innocent victim of crossfire? The crime scene certainly seems to support that theory.
Shamari's vehicle had an obvious gunshot hole through the rear window, and we could actually see clearly that it went into the driver's seat and ultimately struck her.
But a closer look inside the car reveals a clue that deepens the mystery.
Early, take a look at this.
Looking in there, I could actually see it. She had a photo from the ultrasound. Yeah, that obviously stands out.
For detectives, Shamari's apparent pregnancy means she isn't the only victim whose survival is on the line.
In my 15-year career, probably the most difficult crime I ever responded to.
The second of 6 siblings, Shamari Jenkins was born in 1993 into a large and loving family.
Yeah, I call her Ladybug. That was my nickname for her, Ladybug. She liked to look at it when I started calling her that years ago. As she grew up, it just stuck, and I still call her that to this day.
She was just beautiful. She was a beautiful child.
A beauty that shined both inside and out. After graduating high school in 2010, the statuesque teen followed her heart to nursing school.
She graduated and she wanted to finish college and then go into nursing because she loved people and she wanted to take care of people.
Her first priority was to get her degree in school.
But almost as quickly as Shamari's dream took hold, a life-changing event in 2012 forced her to reassess her priorities.
Shamari's mom had gotten really sick.
Shamari was actually going to school in North Carolina, but she came back and she was taking care of her mom.
She said she would rather be there for her mother. You know, her mother needed her at that point, and that's what she wanted to do.
Shamari's mother eventually lost her battle with the autoimmune disease, sarcoidosis, and passed away that August.
For Shamari, it was really hard. She was really close to her mom, and with her not being there was just like a void.
Despite the emotional toll her mother's death took on her, Shamari stood strong and remained the rock her family had grown to depend on.
Good morning.
She started taking on the mother role. She took custody. I moved in with her, and she was just doing everything that my mother would do.
Have a good day. Hold on, don't forget your lunch.
It was natural for her. It was hard, but she did it.
As a result, the 19-year-old grew wise beyond her years.
I think those incidents caused her to mature, a little faster than she would have.
I feel like she was trying to find herself and she was trying to find love.
Hey, baby, what's up?
Hey, how are you?
In the fall of 2012, it seemed Shamari might get that wish. While hanging out with friends, she was introduced to a young man named Carlton Bryan.
I'm Carlton.
Nice to meet you.
My friends call me CJ, though. You call me CJ.
Like Shamari, CJ had also faced his own challenges in life.
CJ was a single father. He had a 3-year-old son, and he was able to support him through a well-paying job at a local security company.
Where you guys headed?
Well, I'm actually headed to go pick up my son.
You have a son?
Yeah.
How cute is that?
She knew that he had a son with someone else. It wasn't a secret. She accepted that.
Not only did Shamari accept everything about CJ, before long, she was madly in love.
Every time she talked about him, all Shamari would do was smile. I don't think that she's ever had anyone that she felt like she loved as much as she loved CJ.
I knew Shamari was serious about CJ when she brought him home to meet me. Because she rarely ever brought anybody home.
And naturally, Shamari's close-knit family welcomed her new boyfriend with open arms.
They were both in love with each other. There was no doubt in my mind. Their relationship was going good and that she was happy.
CJ would be over my house pretty much every day, if not every other day. I treated him like one of my sons.
The budding romance seemed to be on a fast track to happily ever after, especially when in December of 2012, Shamari and CJ found out they were expecting a baby of their own.
She always wanted a family. She was excited about it.
Me and my sister were talking about planning a baby shower and what months that we planned the baby shower in. You know, we were all excited about it.
There was one woman in the couple's life, though, that wasn't happy about the baby. CJ's ex, Ashley Poole.
Shamari and CJ never had any issues until his first child's mother found out their relationship was more serious than what she thought it was. She used to text Shamari or call her and, just harass her.
But CJ assured Shamari she had nothing to worry about.
CJ told Shamari, she was just a crazy baby mama that want to be calling his girlfriend.
Eventually, the drama subsided. By the following April, the couple knew they were having a boy. Only 8 months after her mother's death, Shamari's life seemed to be back on track.
Knowing her to be this nurturing, loving person, I knew that she would be a very good mother.
When you look at Shamari and CJ in public together, you'll see a happy couple.
In fact, for the loving couple, April 29th, 2013 was supposed to be a day of celebration. That afternoon, CJ attended a cookout at Shamari's house.
Shamari came to me, she's like, Daddy, I'm going to see at CJ's house to spend the night. I'll see you tomorrow morning. I said, okay, baby, and I love you. And she said, I'll call you later. And she left out the door.
But just after midnight, Todd Jenkins receives a call no father ever wants to hear.
No. That's when I got a call from CJ. Saying Shamari been shot. And I just dropped the phone.
While the first ripples of this tragedy are only now being felt, investigators across town are already hard at work. And what they don't know yet is they're about to wade into even darker waters.
People are crying, hugging each other, screaming Shamari's name, saying she didn't deserve this.
In the early morning hours of April 29th, 2013, Shamari Jenkins' loved ones woke to the horrifying news that the 20-year-old mother-to-be had been grievously wounded in a late-night shooting.
Shamari's boyfriend, CJ Bryant, was apparently sitting beside her when a bullet came through the back passenger window and struck her.
On the way to the hospital, I'm actually trying to think positive. I'm like, okay, she got shot, but she's gonna be okay.
As Shamari's panicked family anxiously awaits an update from doctors, back at the crime scene, investigators are searching for answers.
The bullet was fired through the rear windshield or the rear window of the car on the passenger side.
While Shamari's vehicle is processed for evidence, detectives begin canvassing the neighborhood for possible eyewitnesses.
We're knocking on doors, seeing if anybody heard anything, anybody saw anything.
But locating a witness, especially in a rough and tumble section of town like Clay Arsenal, isn't easy.
It's not uncommon to see people get into trouble or be victims of violent acts there. I would absolutely classify it as a high crime area. From shootings and assaults and drug activity, stolen vehicles, property damage, you pretty much name it, it occurs in that neighborhood.
Oftentimes, there's a suspicion of police in neighborhoods like this.
No one claims to have heard any shots fired that night. And that's not all.
We weren't able to locate any shell casings. We did a pretty extensive canvass, for that.
No witnesses, no physical evidence. To investigators, something certainly seems amiss.
I'm looking for physical evidence, shell casings, firearms. I'm checking the area and the car. And the feeling that I had, it was just unusual. It was just like, how could this woman get shot like this through the back windshield and die, from a single shot?
As investigators ponder their next move, Shamari's family is gathered at St. Francis Hospital, awaiting news of Shamari's condition.
If you'll wait right here, the surgeon will be right with you.
I knew once they wouldn't tell me anything and they take you off and sit you in that little side room. So I know that side room is nothing good about that side room.
Just before 2 a.m., Todd Jenkins and his family received the gut-wrenching news.
I'm sorry. We did everything we could do, and sorry to tell you she didn't make it.
Say that! Say that! He said she's gone. She's gone. And I don't even remember what happened directly. Right after that, I was floored. I was really floored. I never expected that in a million years. The emotions, oh my goodness. I mean, just everybody was just devastated about this.
Sadly, when Shamari died, her unborn fetus did not survive, so it was a double tragedy.
Shortly after receiving word of Shamari's death, Hartford detectives Reginald Early and Michael Rykowski begin questioning family members at the ER.
We try to explain what we have at that point and try to garner any background information on what may have been going on in the victim's life, which could lead to the potential motive.
She had any enemies that you were aware of?
No, nobody.
They didn't have any enemies. Everybody liked her.
Detectives find that everyone is in shock.
All anybody could do was cry and just ask, why did it happen to her?
She didn't appear to have any known enemies. We were unable to find any real motive.
I want to find the person who done this.
But there is one person detectives would still like to question. The only known witness to the crime, Shamari's boyfriend, CJ.
Very sorry for your loss. Can you tell us what happened?
CJ reiterates what he told responders at the scene.
Everything happened so fast, I didn't really know what was going on. I see a guy come up behind the car with a gun. Baby, go, 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 punch it, go!
The car was already running, so he told Shamari to speed off. And as she went to speed off, the alleged perpetrator fired one shot into the back windshield. And that bullet ultimately struck Shamari, causing her to crash into the west side of Magnolia Street.
CJ's behavior, coupled with evidence at the crime scene, seems to bolster his claim that maybe he and Shamari were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Obviously, it's not uncommon for us to see people who are nervous just to be in the presence of police in general. So it's sometimes harder to differentiate whether they're nervous about being with us or whether they're nervous about having committed the crime. But he certainly didn't come off as though he had just committed a murder.
There's no way a passenger inside the car could have fired the shot.
It was just a straight shot to the right side of the car, which was the passenger side. Shamari was the one driving.
What was happening as the bullet was fired is that the car was pulling out from the curb and turning, so that it could be that you'd be firing toward the passenger seat and accidentally hit the driver.
Which raises one obvious possibility. Maybe the bullet was actually intended for someone else. Still, detectives press CJ for any more information he can provide.
What were y'all doing driving around so late? Especially in that part of town.
We were waiting for my cousin.
He said Shamari and him were sitting in the car. He was waiting for his cousin who had owed him money.
Who's your cousin?
Matthew Hall Davis.
The name provides a potential new lead in the case, along with a new witness.
Appreciate your time.
As detectives conclude their interview with CJ, they know unraveling this mystery will be a daunting task. But there's about to be a break no one sees coming.
I got so excited because I'm like, I'm about to solve this case. I'm going to solve this case.
On April 29, 2013, 20-year-old Shamari Jenkins was gunned down on the streets of Hartford, Connecticut, leaving her boyfriend CJ Bryan along with the rest of her family in a state of shock.
I never got a chance to tell my baby goodbye and that I love you. And then I still cry. I cry myself to sleep every night thinking about it.
The next day, Shamari's autopsy confirms her cause of death.
She had one gunshot wound which ended up into her chest.
We were able to recover a projectile from her upper torso.
It's the only projectile recovered in the case so far, and it provides an important piece of information.
They were able to determine that it was a large .44, .45 caliber weapon.
And since there were no shell casings found on the scene, investigators can surmise one thing about the weapon that killed Shamari.
We knew that we were looking for a large caliber revolver.
But since there's no trace of the murder weapon, detectives are forced to focus on their only other lead, a potential witness named by CJ Bryan, his cousin Matthew.
CJ had mentioned Matthew Allen Hall Davis as potentially having some information.
Fortunately, finding Matthew comes easy.
I got a phone call from the front desk saying that there was someone in the lobby who wanted to speak to me in regards to the murder. So I walked downstairs, and there's a gentleman who introduces himself to me as Matthew Allen Hall Davis.
Please have a seat.
Detectives waste no time in sitting Matthew down for an interview.
Thanks for coming in, Mr. Hall Davis.
And when they do, he seems genuinely distraught. Turns out he and Shamari had been very close.
He said Shamari was a good friend of his. He also said he had a girlfriend named Devin who was good friends with Shamari. And he said Shamari, him, CJ, and Devin would often spend a lot of time together at their apartment on Greenfield Street. Devin worked in an ice cream store, and she would get out of work and always bring ice cream home. They would eat ice cream, watch movies together.
In fact, Matthew explains, he and CJ had just been with Shamari and her family the evening of her murder.
Matthew said that he had hung out with Shamari and CJ earlier in the day at a barbecue at her father's house in East Hartford. That they were all back there cooking hamburgers, having fun together, hanging out.
And that was actually the last time I really saw her alive. You sure about that? Yes, sir.
Matthew's story immediately raises a red flag. If what he says is true, it doesn't gel with CJ's earlier version of events.
So you weren't in the Clay Arsenal the other night? No, sir. So was CJ lying to us?
He had a feeling CJ knew who did it, and he can get that information and relay it to me.
But before Matthew gets that opportunity, detectives once again receive a call. This time from CJ's stepfather.
Just give me a moment, please. I'll be right back.
CJ's stepfather is a Hartford police officer, retired. I was good friends with him. He explained to me that he was going to bring CJ in to tell me the truth, that him and CJ had a talk.
Once at the station, CJ admits he had not been truthful in his first interview.
I lied to you guys about why we've really been in Clay Arsenal.
Okay. What really happened then?
I had Shamari bring me over there to buy some weed, and that's when it all went down.
He told me he was trying to buy some marijuana. The person went behind the building to retrieve the marijuana, and when he came back, he had a gun.
I see the gun, I tell Shamari to hit it, and as he was trying to get away, he fired the gun.
Okay, who fired the gun?
And that's when he revealed the identity of the suspect.
His name is Lowe.
Detectives are already familiar with the name.
There was a person named Kavan. His street name was Lowe.
Kavan was in fact a suspect in another shooting in the area.
Okay, so you're telling me that Lowe is the one who killed Shamari Jenkins?
Yes.
He went as far as picking Lowe out in a photograph lineup.
Right away, I alert my counterparts. Give me all the information you can on Kavan. Find out where he is. We need him now. Because now, not only is he responsible for a shooting on Bedford Street 2 weeks earlier, it's possibly he's responsible for killing Shamari Jenkins.
Less than 48 hours later, Kavan is apprehended by police.
We brought him in, read him his rights, interviewed him.
Look, I don't even know why y'all got me in here. I didn't do nothing. We have an eyewitness who said you have something to do with 2 different shootings.
He ultimately admitted to his involvement in the other shooting on Bedford Street, which is a couple of blocks away from where Shamari got killed.
It's an admission that gives credibility to CJ's story. Could a small-time drug deal have led to Shamari's murder? It would seem to explain what CJ and Shamari were doing in Clay Arsenal that night.
I get very excited. I got so excited because I'm like, I'm about to solve this case. I'm going to solve this case.
But then, Kavan turns the table on detectives.
I don't know nothing about no Shamari Jenkins. I would never shoot no female.
He was adamant. I had nothing to do with shooting that female. I would never shoot a girl.
But detectives aren't about to take the word of an admitted criminal.
Where were you on the night of April 29th?
I was at home.
Do you have anyone that can vouch for that?
Kavan had stated at the time of the incident he was on the phone with his girlfriend, whom he identified for us. He had also provided some other witnesses that had known where he was at the time.
Please have a seat.
Okay. Detectives follow up with Kavan's girlfriend, Christine.
His girlfriend did in fact come in and give us a statement confirming what he had said as well as the other leads that he had given us.
She said that she was home and she spoke to him around 12:30, 1 o'clock in that area. They were on the phone for like an hour, cell phones.
Which, as detectives know, was right around the time of CJ's harrowing 911 call.
We had enough to develop a search warrant to determine his GPS locations on his cell phone.
We were able to confirm cell phone records, his cell phone and her cell phone, and he was in that area where he said he was and not in the area where Shamari was shot at the time.
Not only that, forensics evidence proves the weapon used in the Bedford Street shooting was not the same one that killed Shamari.
The shell casings found at the scene on Bedford Street were 9mm casings. The projectile recovered from Shamari was a large caliber, 44, 45 caliber projectile and no shell casings. It was sent to the state lab, it was compared, and there was no match.
We attempt to confirm his alibi, which we were ultimately able to do.
Which means Shamari's murder investigation is once again at a frustrating standstill. That is until detectives receive a call from another witness, one who will crack this troubling case wide open.
He had information related to the Shamari Jenkins homicide.
Nearly 2 weeks after Shamari Jenkins was gunned down inside her car in Hartford, Connecticut, the 20-year-old mother-to-be is finally laid to rest.
It was a going home celebration for my baby girl. You know, she'd have loved it to see all her family and friends there celebrate her life.
It was too much for me. It was too much for me, and I was still going through the loss of my mother. So when that happened, I just didn't want to be here no more.
Adding to the tragedy, CJ Bryan is left mourning the loss of his girlfriend and their unborn son.
He came up to me, hugging me, crying, saying he's sorry, and he go get whoever did it. He's just really sorry. If she was at home, it would have never happened.
An initial suspect, it now seems there's no way CJ could have feasibly committed this crime.
The bullet had went through the back windshield on the passenger side, through the driver's seat into her shoulder. At the time, she was operating her motor vehicle, and she was in the car with her boyfriend, who was a passenger.
Not only that, CJ had never acted like someone who wanted to rid himself of his girlfriend or their unborn child.
The day Shamari was killed, CJ was at a family cookout at Shamari's house. So that was obviously still someone that he wanted to be around.
After Shamari's funeral, the grief proves unbearable for CJ. So much so, he decides to move out of state.
He wants to change his life. He wants to go to church, gonna go try living in Florida with his biological father.
Still, CJ promises to continue helping the investigation as needed.
He still stays in contact with me through phone calls. Because I said, look, CJ, I'm gonna need you periodically throughout this investigation. I'm gonna need to talk to you.
It's an oath that would soon be put to the test. As weeks pass with no new leads, Shamari's murder investigation begins to grind to a standstill in the spring of 2013.
There was nothing that anyone can do. That's a lot of frustration.
Then, in May of that same year, police in Connecticut find themselves facing a new menace.
Several robberies had occurred in surrounding towns.
These robberies, no one was being shot, but 2 guys were running into the jewelry stores with a gun, stealing jewelry and running out and jumping into a car.
Luckily, in one such robbery in Manchester, Connecticut, the 2 perps are caught on tape.
There's surveillance video of that robbery, which shows them holding the gun and pointing it at the clerk in the store.
Manchester police turn to the media for help, and soon the effort pays off in a way no one expects.
Yeah, this is Early.
As a result of that media coverage of it, Carlton Bryan actually contacted Sergeant Early.
He called me one evening and says, Detective Early, I can help you solve the jewelry store robberies that are happening up in that area. I know exactly who's doing it. And I'm like, wow. I said, how would you know that? He like, just trust me, I know who's doing it.
And that's when he stated that it was Matthew Allen Hall Davis and Kingsley Minto.
Matthew Hall Davis, CJ's cousin, had been an early witness in Shamari Jenkins' murder, but now it seems he'd gotten in with the wrong crowd.
I met with the Manchester police and the West Hartford police. They had a little task force, and we exchanged information, compared notes, looked at videos, looked at the pictures that we had from the names provided by CJ. Perfect match.
Matthew Allen Hall Davis and Kingsley Minto were arrested on charges of robbing a jewelry store at gunpoint.
But once in an interview room at the Manchester police station, Kingsley Minto throws police for a loop.
He's admitted to the robbery, but he wants to be shown some leniency.
What makes you think we can do that for you?
First off, I have information about another case.
I'm listening.
I know who killed Shamari Jenkins.
Hold that thought.
That's when my phone rings and I get that call to come talk to him. And that's when everything opened up.
I understand you got some information for us about the murder of Shamari Jenkins.
Yeah.
He tells me that he's involved with doing robberies, but he's not a killer. He tells me that he did the robberies with Matthew Allen Hall Davis.
The day after Shamari's funeral, Matthew confessed to me that he killed her.
Kingsley says, I told Matthew, I don't want to hear no more. Don't tell me no more. Because I was just in disbelief. You went to her funeral. You guys knew this girl.
No, he used a revolver. I know exactly where it's at. I can show you guys.
Kingsley agrees to lead police to the gun. It's hidden in a park in Vernon, Connecticut.
He said he can show us where he drove Matthew to, where Matthew got out of the car, walked into some woods, and came back out. And he took us right to that area, and within 10 minutes, the firearm was located, wrapped up in a bag.
The firearm was in fact a large caliber, it was a .44 caliber Ruger Blackhawk revolver. That firearm was then transferred from the Manchester Police Department to State of Connecticut Laboratory, where they in fact confirmed that it was the firearm used to murder Shamari.
After weeks of heartbreaking dead ends, it appears detectives are finally closing in on Shamari's murderer.
Things are starting to fall into place.
I'm ecstatic. I got him. That's all I'm saying all night long. I got him. I got him. Now is the most important part of the investigation. I have to take my time. I can't let my excitement overwhelm me. I can't miss any steps.
But were investigators really as close as they believe? Or was there another side to this story still waiting to be told?
He said it was an accident and the bullet was meant for someone else.
The arrests of 24-year-old Matthew Hall Davis and his friend, 29-year-old Kingsley Minto, for a spate of armed robberies in Connecticut has led police to an unexpected discovery.
The information we got from Kingsley Minto was absolutely on point. He led us directly to the firearm, which we believed at that point was actually the firearm used to kill Shamari. He had also implicated Matthew Allen Hall Davis.
For a case that seemed at a dead end, it's a much welcome turn of events, and it was all made possible by Shamari's boyfriend and Matthew's cousin, CJ Bryan.
CJ brought everyone to me. He brought all the key people that I needed. He served them to me on a silver platter, on his own.
Now all investigators need is Matthew's confession and a motive.
Following our interview with Kingsley Minto, we immediately went to interview Matthew while he was in the custody of Hartford Correctional Center.
But once in an interview room, Matthew denies shooting Shamari.
We need to know what happened to Shamari Jenkins.
I told you guys everything I know. I told you what happened.
He starts out sort of portraying himself just as a witness, saying, you know, he found out from CJ that she'd been killed and didn't know anything about who killed her and that sort of thing.
After several hours of Matthew, denying and refusing to implicate himself, we started speaking about just general forgiveness and how in the court's eyes, we feel if a person is honest about their mistake and they're remorseful for what they have done, it tends to look better for the suspect.
Finally, Matthew cracks.
He had a dramatic change and he appeared to become more truthful. At one point, he simply said, "Let me call my girlfriend and I'll tell you exactly what happened."
In front of police, Matthew calls his girlfriend, Devin.
He called her and put it in speaker mode so they could hear what everybody was saying.
Hello?
Hey, baby, how you doing?
Hey.
And him and Devin were having a conversation, Besides him telling her how much he loved her, he warned her that I'm about to tell you something, but I don't want you to look at me any differently.
I shot Shamari. I'm the one who killed her.
What?
She was just disgusted and outraged by this whole situation.
She had become close friends with Shamari. She had gone to Shamari's funeral with Matthew. She just couldn't fathom that he was in fact responsible for it.
She was in disbelief. She was like, "What? You did what?" And then he was just begging her for forgiveness, begging her to stand by him, begging her not to turn her back on him.
Are you serious?
Baby, no, it's not what you think.
I don't have anything else to say to you. Don't ever talk to me again.
And she hung up the phone, and he had the impression that she was done with him. He just started banging his head on the wall, smashing his head on the wall. So at one point, I dove across the table and grabbed him.
Calm down, bro.
Eventually, Matthew regains his composure. So detectives press him further.
Just tell us what happened. We need to know.
That's when Matthew drops another bombshell.
He says, I'm the shooter, but CJ is the one who orchestrated this. He was the mastermind behind it. It's almost to say if he's just a puppet.
During Matthew's confession of the incident, he confirmed that CJ in fact wanted Shamari killed because Shamari refused to have that abortion.
Matthew goes on to spell out exactly what happened that night, starting with the cookout at Shamari's house.
At some point, CJ tells him, she has to go, gives him the gun.
After the party, Matthew says the three friends split up. Shamari drove CJ to his house, while Matthew left in CJ's car. On the way home, CJ asked his girlfriend to stop to meet someone in Clay Arsenal.
They pulled up on the side of the road, so I kept circling around the block until I saw him.
He was able to park his car a block away on Enfield Street and walk through what they call a cut, a throughway over to the next street.
CJ told him to hide in a cut, and he was supposed to just run out and empty the whole clip on Shamari through her driver's window.
But Matthew says that's when he changed his mind.
I ran up to the car, intended to shoot CJ.
He said that he decided to run around another way and come behind the car to shoot CJ.
Why'd you want to kill CJ?
For putting me in this position. Because I thought if CJ was gone, I wanted my problems to be gone.
Matthew goes on to explain that CJ had been taking advantage of him for years, starting when Matthew took the fall for a robbery they'd committed together in 2011.
Years prior to this incident, when CJ was actually working as a security guard, he had allowed Matthew access to certain job sites to steal, valuable metals. And he was facilitating those burglaries and those robberies, and that Matthew had actually gone to jail as a result of one of those burglaries for CJ.
After he got out, he was living with CJ, living in his apartment, and he was very much under CJ's influence. He sort of was looking for friends wherever he could find them.
He indicated to us that the shooting of Shamari was accidental. He didn't want to shoot Shamari, and that he had become upset with CJ that CJ had put him in that position.
So if you were trying to kill CJ, why's Shamari dead?
So when I shot, the bullet ricocheted and hit her.
But to investigators, Matthew's story sounds like a work of revisionist history.
My personal belief is that he thought if he had portrayed it as an accident, he would be viewed better by the court. Matthew's whole drive, in my opinion, to even confess was the fact he wanted to do whatever he could do to help himself.
In terms of just reconstructing the situation, there is some potential plausibility to that claim. Of course, on the other side of the coin is the fact that he commits this robbery with the same gun 12 days later. And I mean, think about it. If you killed somebody you didn't intend to kill, would you want anything to do with guns after that?
When you're telling me you intend to kill someone and someone else other than that person dies, the intent is transferred according to the law. Either way, it's murder.
But if CJ was involved in this conspiracy, as Matthew now so desperately asserts, why had CJ ratted him out? Detectives believe they know the answer.
Once he had seen the surveillance video of Matthew in possession of that firearm, CJ became really angry because Matthew was supposed to destroy the firearm after the homicide. And by Matthew committing armed robberies with the firearm, CJ believed that it was going to lead back to him that he was involved in the homicide.
So CJ essentially figured one or two things. I gotta get these guys off the street before police catch them with this gun. Or if police do link this gun to Shamari's death, they'll think these two guys did it and they won't give me up.
CJ obviously thought that he had it figured out. Unfortunately, by him contacting us and leading us directly to Kingsley Minto and Matthew Allen Hall Davis, it did exactly opposite of what he thought it was going to do, because it ultimately led us right back to him.
With Matthew's statement, police are one step closer to closing this case.
He said, I'm not going down alone, he going down with me.
But will the word of a confessed killer really be enough? And had CJ really been the lone mastermind? What investigators are about to learn next will thrust a new player into this deadly game of hearts.
I really thought that Shamari Jenkins was his girlfriend, his main girl. But he had another girlfriend.
On June 6, 2013, 24-year-old Matthew Hall Davis confessed to Hartford police that he fired the lone bullet that killed mother-to-be Shamari Jenkins. But according to Matthew, his cousin and Shamari's boyfriend, CJ Bryan, put him up to it.
There was never any allegation that Matthew Allen Hall Davis got anything in return for committing the shooting. It was simply that he was under some sort of influence from his friend.
I believed that CJ manipulated him. I believe that he felt a strange kind of love for CJ, that he would do anything for him.
But in order to put CJ behind bars for good, prosecutors will need more than Matthew's word. That's when a man named Everett Wallace comes forward as a result of neighborhood canvassing.
He actually lived in front of the building where Shamari and CJ parked.
In an interview room, Wallace finally reveals the conniving depths of this conspiracy.
He noted to investigators that CJ had actually spoken to him in the hours before the shooting.
He asked me to be a witness for him.
His job was to be there and be a witness for the police, confirming that someone shot and ran away from the car.
He told me he was going to shoot her, but I didn't believe him. You know, people say that all the time. Doesn't mean they're going to do it, so.
He said he didn't take him seriously. He said people in the street always say they're going to do things, and he just didn't believe that someone could be that cold, that calculated, do something like that.
But what Wallace says next fills in the missing piece of the puzzle.
He said he would have her killed because she was pregnant, and he didn't want his baby mama to find out about it.
The allegation floors detectives.
I really thought that Shamari Jenkins was his girlfriend, his main girl, but he had a child and another girlfriend. In his mind, that was his main family.
CJ believed that Shamari was ruining his relationship with his main girlfriend, by whom he had a son.
His other girlfriend had evidently told CJ that if Shamari has that baby, they could no longer be together.
That was bad for CJ, not only because he would lose his son, but also his job.
His employment was through her grandfather's security company. CJ would lose everything if Shamari had that baby.
As CJ put it, Shamari was ruining his life.
All of which raises the question, could CJ's main squeeze Ashley have put him up to the act?
That is always a thought, could she be, a scorned, jealous lover that could have been involved?
But when investigators sit down with Ashley, she seems taken aback by that line of questioning.
I mean, me and Shamari, we exchanged words at one time, but it was one time. Look, I didn't have anything to do with her death.
We had no further information to prove that she was in fact involved.
I think CJ denied the baby being his. His girlfriend believed him, and if the child was born, a blood test would reveal that CJ was the father. And CJ was not gonna ruin what she believed. He was gonna do anything at any cost to keep his son in his good graces and her grandfather, who owned the security company he worked for.
Based on witness statements and the recovery of the murder weapon, police believe they have more than enough evidence to arrest CJ. Now they just have to find him.
After the warrants get approved and signed by the judge, I'm calling CJ on the phone. I'm thinking he's in Florida, because that's what he's telling me. But we have a technology where we can ping a cell phone. So we use that technology to determine his exact location. And it wasn't in Florida where he told me he was. It was actually in Windsor, Connecticut.
And not just anywhere in Connecticut.
Global positioning technology showed his phone pinging at his girlfriend Ashley's house.
Now I'm really excited. We all get together. We go to the area of the house. We surround the house. And we knock on the door. There's no answer. So after we knocked on the door, the cell phone company informed us that the phone was just turned off. Now we know he's in the house.
Eventually, neighbors call Ashley about all of the commotion, and she comes home.
I said, well, we're knocking on the door, and he's not opening the door. And in fact, he told me that he was in Florida. She was like, no, he's here. At that point, she let us into the house, and CJ came out, nice as pie. He put his hands behind his back, looked at me in my face, said, I'm sorry.
When Shamari's family hears the news, CJ's actions seem like the ultimate betrayal.
Honestly, at first, hearing the news of what actually happened, I felt like it was a lie at first. I just could not believe that someone could do something like that.
For you to come to our family function a few hours before you did it, it just really just set fire for me. And after that, I just opened my eyes to everything.
All CJ had to do was just walk away, just leave her alone. If you didn't want to be bothered with the baby, all you had to do was just walk away. She would have been fine with her baby.
On May 1st, 2015, CJ's cousin, Matthew Hall Davis, is convicted and sentenced to 70 years in prison for Shamari's death. 3 months later, CJ receives a similar fate.
CJ, the mastermind, the orchestrator, got 80 years.
When the jury came back and read their verdict, I just jumped for joy because now everything is over. Shamari has her justice and now our family can just go on in peace.
The jury was able to hear everything and they felt the same way everybody else did, the same way I did. That, anyone that manipulating, that selfish, there's so many things you could have done differently if you didn't want that child. But you chose the ultimate thing, to kill an innocent young woman who's only trying to be a mother.
I thought it would make me feel better, but it didn't. It didn't. It didn't make me feel better. I mean, yeah, justice was served, but it doesn't make my heart feel any less pain. For Shamari. She didn't deserve that.
While justice is bittersweet, Shamari's family will always wonder what might have been if this young, beautiful woman hadn't followed her heart into the wrong arms.
He made Shamari believe that he loved her. He made Shamari believe that she was his only one and that they were going to be in a relationship and raise their son. But he showed otherwise. He never did love Shamari. If he loved Shamari, he would have never had this done to her.
You think you know people, but you really have no idea what people are capable of. And you just have to be careful who you trust and let into your life. And then always have family there around you to support you and have somebody to lean on.